Hello everyone and welcome to the fourth and final round of the 2024 Memorial Championship presented by Discraft. Great battle lined up for you guys. We've got Aaron Gossage along with Gannon Buhr, Anthony Barela, and rounding out the card, Paul Ulibarri. Guys, the Goose is already migrating to Waco for the next big event. So I brought in last year's champion to see if he's got any insights. Gannon Buhr joins on the mic again. Gannon, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to watch this final round coverage. Should be a great battle out there.
And on hole number one, there has to be a little bit of nerves. I mean, as seasoned and as good as you guys are, the triple Mando and the OB, you have to be thinking about it a little?
Oh, yeah. Last year, I actually remember hitting the banners, kind of those little triangles hanging down from the top of the triple Mando and barely getting through. So I remember this year exaggerating my follow through down throughout the hole, making sure I kept it low enough. Me and Aaron actually have a very similar play on this hole, going over stable. And that was a very unfortunate kick. It's kind of hard to see on the camera even, but there's these kind of sticking out, I don't know, fingers you could call them. And yeah, it really just causes any shot that goes near him just to kick, loses all the speed of the disc, kicks straight down, and he got a bad kick. There I made the adjustment. Like I said, kept it real low, going with something overstable. That was my method.
And one of our big contenders, of course, and Anthony Barela also right here, just a few strokes off the pace. He's 3 behind you as you sit 3 behind Gossage. And then there's some separation. Uli, team captain over at Discraft, sitting at 20 under. Are you worried about him at that point?
No, I kind of made some jokes like, oh no, Yuli's coming back, he's coming back.
Ouch.
But it was fun to have him on the card because, he kind of had nothing to lose, just trying to see the best run he could shoot out there. So we're all having a good time out there while still being pretty serious about the shots we were throwing.
Well, he throws a good forehand now. Gossage trying to get up and down. We saw him go out of bounds in round number 3 and wasn't able to save the par. He went deep. Here, that's not even a look to save par. So it looks like a bogey coming up, and we might see a swing or two here.
Yeah, he still has some meat on the bone there, about 20 feet, which is never easy. Especially it's been pretty windy here out at Vista these last couple days.
Stepper by AB, too much on it. Uli's forehand puts him on this right side. Do you see a world where the forehand is a better shot for you on this hole? Is that weather dependent or wind dependent?
For me, it's not. I think I'll always throw backhand on this hole no matter what. Yeah, as we see a good putt by Paul there for birdie. I think the backhand is a little bit easier for me to start my round off. For me, I kind of have to get my forehand warmed up, and when you start off a hole like this, it's kind of tough to be precise with it sometimes.
Yeah, Jeep.
Barely squeaking over the cage with
Yeah,
that
not
one.
by much.
Yeah, that was that one obviously felt good to find the bottom of the basket eventually, but a little bit of a nervy putt to start out. Had some putting struggles the last couple months, so still kind of going between a few different forms.
I mean, you start out 3 behind Gossage. If he doesn't make this, you're tied up. Okay, well, he does, but still, that's a 2-stroke swing in your favor.
Yeah, it felt really good, and in my mind, we're almost tied at this point, just because obviously it's 1 stroke, but having the momentum really early on is huge. That can kind of set the pace for the whole rest of the round. Maybe with that tee shot, him leaking it a little bit high there, can maybe get in his head a little bit, and so that's another strategy that I kind of like to use, is just obviously not super intentionally, but throwing really good shots, or maybe starting a round off slightly better than someone that you're chasing down can just unintentionally affect the other player.
And hole 2, special memories, I'm sure, a little bit for you. This is where you ultimately took it down in a playoff last year.
Oh yeah.
You playing it any different? What's the game plan here?
Kind of. So round 3 last year, I ended up throwing it this exact same line and parking it, And this was an okay shot. Obviously got really skippy at the end. The grass out here at Vista was playing faster than I feel like normally it is. I have gone forehand in the past when I won the playoff and round 4 of last year, I believe. I don't think that tree was there last year on the right off the tee box, and so that kind of got in my head a little bit. And like I said, kind of early in the round for the forehand, so I was feeling pretty good about that backhand line. Didn't quite get over on it enough there, but Uli taking a different route with the roller, and we're going to see a third different line here with AB throwing his Athena right up the middle.
I'm surprised to see AB not going forehand here. Do you feel like that's just an odd angle, or it's not a distance issue, right?
Definitely not a distance issue. AB's got top 3 biggest forehands in the world for sure. I remember I was talking to him actually. He used to throw the spike hyzer on this hole, and I was like, "Hey, you finally recognized it was a dumb play," so he doesn't throw it anymore. That play kind of gets really skippy, and it's hard to park the basket. And you can actually throw it OB over the fence. And Aaron, this is a very overstable nuke for him. He just didn't get the height on it. He threw it pretty good in the last round we played, round 3, and that one, like I said, yeah, just a little bit low there.
So right now he's not even thinking birdie. All he's thinking is, hey, I just need to get this up next to the pin and hopefully, walk away with the 3.
Yep, and you guys are going to see that purple disc all day, every day. Oh, my gosh.
And Yuli stepping up to throw quickly, almost skipping it in.
Yeah, I talked to him after, and I was like, surely we're trying to make that. It was a fairway driver, and from my angle, it cut right through the middle of the chains, but it was on such a vertical angle, it almost had no chance in a way. Putting struggles continue.
Your jumper from maybe 38 or so, just off the front.
AB just inside circle, probably looking 28 feet here.
Wow, and similar result to what you had, just off the front of the cage. Is that a form thing at that point, or is that just a little bit of the wind messing with you guys?
Could be both. I mean, honestly, in the wind, you never know whether your putter will lift or drop, and sometimes it kind of feels like it's up to luck at that point. I know my miss when it's windy is always low in the cage because I know for a fact, I can't get a super terrible result unless it's a slope or you get really unlucky. So usually I kind of just aim lower part of the basket and hope, if anything, it does lift. Funny story, AB, I was just informed that he was putting with 169 gram putters.
Interesting.
And he didn't know about that.
Oh.
So.
Okay, I was going to say max weight is often the play that
Yes.
we see from our top level throwers, but so going light's not necessarily that crazy, but to not know they were light,
Yeah.
that part is crazy.
I think he just picked out a pair and I
It
guess
felt
didn't
good
look at the
and-
weight. Yeah, I mean.
Okay, well,
But that's definitely a thing. I mean, half the time you have no idea. I mean, a lot of the disc I bag, I don't even check the weight. So it's kind of like, and I know I've been known to bag lighter weight discs in the past.
Sure.
Obviously, I feel like sometimes I know about it. But yeah, very, very interesting there. I mean,
we'll see. And I guess maybe to follow that up, if he was high on every putt, you'd be like, oh, okay, well, maybe he's just throwing them a little harder and they're getting more glide or float. But, that putt in particular came up low. So I guess we'll see if there is any impact throughout the rest of the round.
yeah, and like the other way it can affect it too is just the little air bounces it gets in the air when you're just in like a 45-footer or something, or even a 25-footer. The bounces can be more exaggerated with the lightweight putter.
Is that just a putter there again?
Yeah, I believe that was his new Kratos he was throwing.
And I'm just shocked, is what I'd say. I'm shocked to not see a forehand out of him, just like we're seeing here by Gossage.
Yeah, this play seems to check up real nice. Aaron, I mean, I knew stepping up that was going to be a park job no matter what. I mean, pretty much that's how that works with that shot for Aaron. It's kind of his stock, just like slight hyzer, maybe flat, and just, I mean, it plays the ground play about as best as you can for the hole, landing pretty softly while still being able to throw an overstable disc. It's really predictable. I was a little surprised. I mean, AB, I think he did a couple different disc choices on this hole throughout the weekend. I know the wind, like I said, has been swirly and fluky sometimes, and this was his more overstable throwing putter, where yesterday he went a little more understable and landed kind of short. He's about 45 right here. It's about as high on the cage you can hit
without going in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a solid bid, but just low. You can see there the wind. Well, it looked obvious that it was left to right, but then the second puff kind of confused us.
Just going everywhere at this point. Who knows where it's going?
Not by much, but we'll count it. That's right side corner pocket, as I like to say.
Yeah, that nose down putt, you can kind of still hit low in the basket, but it'll fall in sometimes. That's one of the benefits of a nose down putt. Aaron actually also has a pretty nose down putt as well. And I will say, I mean, I'm very impressed with his putting ability as of recent. He's been putting amazing. It's been good to see. Obviously, he's struggled with that in the past, and he's looking more confident than he ever has.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear him talk in the last round about how sometimes just a slope, just like he's on there, just the slightest of slope sometimes, creates a little awkwardness for him. And you saw that he didn't have any problem with that one, but something he said he's going to be taking more note of and working on throughout the season.
I played with Aaron at thechess.com just last weekend, and I mean, he hit a lot of great putts. He was actually kind of in the running to win that tournament for a little bit, ended up getting a podium spot, finishing 3rd place. So good start for the season for him. But yeah, he just made a lot of good, 30 to 50-foot putts, kind of in that range where it's definitely the separator on the tour. It feels like a lot of the time is you want to be hitting those. I mean, with the courses getting harder, you're going to see a lot more Circle 2 opportunities. So those are very important.
And I know you've taken a lot of pride in the C2 prowess that you've had out through the last couple of years. Do you find like C2 is a major concern on this particular course, or do you feel like most of the time you should be able to be, inside the circle, whether it's on the drive or the approach?
I feel like out here.
Oh my gosh.
I wasn't lying.
Worst shot ever. Come on.
I wasn't lying.
Oh, the worst shot ever that's inside the circle?
I would say it got to the tree for sure. So now instead of a guaranteed 3, I do have a birdie putt. Oh crap! I forgot what you said. What did you say?
I was just asking about getting into just that. Is C1 a big concern here, or do you feel like this is the course in a tournament where you really need to attack from C2 because that's where you're going to be quite often?
Yeah. So I feel like out here and at the fountain courses,
off the cage.
I can't even talk because there's so much going on.
I know. Sorry, I set you up for that. We're going to take another quick look at it.
Fairway driver, overstable fairway driver. Just 1 foot short.
Unbelievable. Who needs to putt if you can just do that?
Pretty much. Yeah, I feel like out here you don't find Circle 2 a ton if you're throwing well. You have a lot of 20-footers, I feel like, if your throwing's on. There's a couple par 3s, like hole 9 is definitely one that you can probably find yourself in Circle 2, but a lot of people don't even go for that hole. Same with hole 5 with that quadruple Mando. I actually laid that hole up, so I'm not, that's kind of a weird range sometimes.
Sure.
Whether you want to lay up or run it. I feel like it doesn't look that windy on the camera, but there definitely is some wind there, and it picks up later in the round.
Man, the worst shot ever.
That's the worst shot
ever. that one I'll give you.
I was talking about the putt coming up.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say the drive looked just fine. What happened there?
I don't even know. It didn't feel that bad. I don't even feel like it gripped on my hand much more.
Well, it didn't grip any chains or metal either.
No, it wasn't even close. And now this I would call the hardest putt in disc golf is trying to make this comeback putt from the exact same distance when everyone else in your cart is parked.
This might be longer.
Yeah, I'm actually going a little bit of a different form here. I remember this right here. 2 hands on the putter, trying to keep it a little more stable, get some more spin. I forget what the wind was, but I remember it was a factor.
So the comebacker for par. All right, well, that one looks good.
Yeah, that was hard. That was
The
a good putt.
previous one, not so much.
Yeah. So still good putt. Definitely. I mean, that's one of those putts. If you end up missing that one, taking a bogey, losing 2 strokes to the entire card, it really feels like a missed opportunity. And who knows? Maybe it's in my head of getting lucky through the tree on the drive. I'm just like, I don't even deserve a birdie. But that's kind of what you got to do to become a top pro in this game. Is if you have breaks like that, you need to take advantage of them. Obviously, there I wasn't able to. But when those opportunities do arise, you want to do your best to be in the good end of those. And Aaron, hyped about that birdie. I would be
should
too.
be a little pep in his step. I've invited Aaron over to Samui Disc Golf to play in Thailand. I'll invite you just the same. We need to get a bunch of pros over there just to experience the growth and development in Southeast Asia. And, of course, Samui is a good place to do that. You were just talking about the Mandos here. When you're lining up, when you're setting up for this hole, is this an all go or is this put on the brakes? What's kind of the game plan?
Yeah, for me, 100% a layup. We're actually seeing a different play out of Aaron than he did the previous day. He's going with his Zone OS, that same purple-blue disc that he'll be throwing everywhere. I call it his cheater disc because it doesn't skip, no glide, and
Okay.
it's soft. So, yeah, he throws that a ton. But, you got a couple different plays here. Yuli's actually going, I believe, fairway driver here. And barely making it through that second Mando on the left.
Huge flare, though. That's not necessarily going to pay off well for him to that
Yeah.
left side. Not that far, anyway.
I personally don't love this play, and I think I've changed my game plan, especially for this year on the tour, is just limiting the bogeys. And this is one way to do it, is just laying up. AB going a little more aggressive, kind of that middle zone.
Oh, no.
And that missed the Mando by about a foot, just barely. And, that's kind of one of those things I see it happen, and I'm like, I can get a guaranteed 1 stroke unless he makes a really impressive putt. And I'm throwing a very similar disc to what AB threw, but I'm throwing a lot softer. And that's about 20, 30 feet short of the Mandos where, he obviously passed it.
Not even giving it a chance, so to speak, to get past the Mando. So that is a solid layup. Here's Gossage.
And Aaron actually went for this hole yesterday and went OB. And so I think he kind of realized, it's maybe not really worth it to go for it. Kind of get your par and get out because the amount of birdies on this hole, in my opinion, it just isn't worth to go for. And I didn't really think about this putt, and this was also not a great layup. You can see Aaron's disc on the ground there. I was actually scared to hit it. And so my body just threw it over top of it. So got to take even the layups in account and be careful with those because with this hard pan ground, it can get away real quick.
And AB is off the front rim again. That was his chance to save the par. And Yuli from way out on the left side, pin high. Oh, and he buries it.
Money.
All right. We see you. Yuli doing some work out there.
Yeah, looking steady already for today's round.
Trying to earn himself some diaper money for the new kid on the way.
Yes, congratulations to Yuli.
Absolutely.
3 under through 5 is about the dream start. I would consider this hole very hard. So if I'm 3 under through 5, I'm feeling pretty good. Great putt there from Aaron as well. Cleaning up the par, improving by 1 stroke on his score from yesterday. And myself, about a 15-foot putt.
Yeah, and that's about 14 feet longer than you probably should have been, right?
That's very true, Terry.
I mean, I'm not giving you a hard time, but you were committed to the layup, and then next thing you know, you actually have to think about the putt for a moment.
I mean, the whole idea of laying up is low stress, and I gave myself stress there.
Exactly.
Which is what you don't want to do.
That's what I was saying. Big thanks to our friends at the Distinguished Doodle. 35% off if you use the code TheDiscGolfGuy at checkout. And we get to our first par 4 of the round. What are you doing here?
I go with kind of an interesting play. Not a ton of people do it. It's actually a very overstable driver. I'm going PD2 here on a flex at the middle tree, basically shanking it out of my hand and having it skip back left, sorry. I believe Yuli's actually going to go for the same gap I go for with a little bit of a different kind of flight line. I think he's going more of a hyzer flip that gets to flat and then fades left. This is going to get you to a pretty good position. Kind of stuck on that bamboo pole next to that baby tree, but he will have a little bit of a swing. This is the play if you have it, though. It's a wide open forehand. And AB are going to go with this play just because they have that, 400 at least, even 450 hyzer forehand if they need it. And that's all you need, especially on a 750-foot hole. You just got to break it down into 2 portions. Little inside here, but
yeah, just barely missing that tree, huh?
Yeah, still clean, and like I said, ground skipping really good out here. So I knew out of my hand that was fine once it got past that tree. And making the correction from yesterday. He left that one a little bit inside, and he's going to give himself a wide open backhand hyzer or a forehand down the middle to get the birdie.
I was just going to say, I feel like when you put yourself that far up and in the center, you at that point can play the wind, whether you like the lefty, kind of forehand shot, or if you like the righty backhand shot. You've got options. Gossage is going to go up the right side.
It's probably about 400 from where he was at after clipping that tree, and beautiful shot. That is very high level, very impressive with the OB surrounding the basket. Good confidence there.
And Barela will go with this left side, I should say. I know I just called it lefty, but the left side forehand. And that'll get a skip or 2.
That will put him circle 1 for a birdie putt. And yeah, here's Uli. This always scares me to death. I know with my long arms, I never test this. Luckily, he's got some, shorter arms, dinosaur arms, we can call them. And very, very well executed there.
Jumped in there, kid.
That's always a shot I wish I had, was to be able to slow the arm down before, you hit a tree or something. In that case, I'd probably just throw a forehand right here, kind of biting one off of Aaron's line. I'm a little bit closer up. Kind of saw that one off inside, but that's going to leave me a circle's edge putt.
Uli also at circle's edge and up and over the top. Enough power, not quite the right height though. And you're just inside the circle.
I'm not going to lie, this putt felt impossible.
When you're thinking about, as you're lining this up, what are some of the thoughts that are going through your mind? I mean, you say impossible, but like what's scary about it, if scared's even the right word?
I know if I airball with the pace I putt on, even if I put it soft, that I could go OB over that wall. I mean, it's crazy. You just cannot tell here, but the wind is whipping. It's swirling. And that was about the worst feeling putt I've ever had in my whole life. My fall through felt weird. It kind of came out of my hand weird, but the flight was perfect, and that's all it takes. Got to get the disc in the basket. That one felt good because I know I'm not going to lose a stroke now. Still going to stay in the battle. Only 2 back if Aaron is able to put this one in.
Yeah, you're sitting 3 down for the round, 3 through 6. Aaron trying to pick up another one here. So he's happy about that.
Here's another one of those putts that's very difficult.
Yeah, like you said, everyone else sitting there for birdie, and he's trying to close out and clean up with the par.
I know Paul had a very good circle 1 putting percentage last year on the Pro Tour. I think he had a pretty crazy stretch of making a bunch of circle 1s in a row without missing one.
Yeah, very impressive. As AB is in, there's going to be a long walk. I'm going to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Six Sided Disc. They've got a bunch of different series on their YouTube page. Please go check those out, including all 6 sides, also defining disc golf. Flight numbers don't matter. Just an incredible set of series and really professional breakdowns of what they're doing. So find them on YouTube and also on your favorite podcast app. And we head over to hole number 7. Feels like an easier par 4. I know we've added, the island just in the last year or 2, but are you counting on this for birdie?
Definitely not. I mean, the winds, well, if there's no wind, probably. But the fast ground play makes this hole extremely hard, especially the upshot and the drive, I guess, the entire hole then. Here's a good look at the wind. ripping off my right to left, off my back. But it's very hard to keep the disc in the middle of the fairway. Everything tries to skip left. This was actually a really well executed shot. Pushing the OB line on the right, which is going to give me the best angle to attack this green. I'll have a little more airspace. AB actually likes to go off the back of the tee pad here with something a little more understable. Get that flip up and glide. But yeah, the approach going into the green is tough because you want to get over the wall because you don't want to slam into the wall. I've definitely done that before. I mean, a lot of times I just aim for the wall and hope you either skip before it or over it. But I've skipped out of the back of the island multiple times. It's definitely not a mistake you want to make.
Yeah, and speaking of mistakes, the more you push to the left on this hole, it just kind of cuts off your angle, and that's where we see a couple of the drives land. It just makes that angle so much sharper when you're coming in. And some people might love that spike hyzer, but yesterday we saw the wind just kind of push the disc right over the island, as it doesn't appear to be a problem there for Uli.
Yeah, he goes real knife spike hyzer angle there.
Okay, and you've got to love your angle, so to speak, that you have lined up here, right?
Oh, yeah. I know there's no way I'm going to land short of the basket here. I know I'm going to trickle past the basket, but I went OB left yesterday. I mean, I played that one to perfection, I feel like. That's going to give me about 25 feet for the birdie, which I'm very happy about. Obviously, a lot of the baskets out here are elevated, so it makes it putting difficult, and especially when it gets a little breezy. I mean, there's nothing past the basket, and the grass is short, so you miss putts, and you got long comebackers, and AB, unfortunately, is skipping out there.
Yeah, so he's going to be out of bounds, and with that, he goes to the drop zone.
And this one was looking okay, but very similar result to AB. Just getting up in that wind, maybe exposing a little bit too much of the flight plate, and this is kind of an awkward range of a drop zone. I ranged it about 140 feet.
Okay.
So some people don't have that putt distance, and especially if the wind's weird, you might not feel comfortable spinning a putt. AB and Aaron definitely both have that distance, no problem. So that's definitely going to be the play. Helps you slow down the disc a little bit more with the less rotations compared to more of a backhand throw. And Uli saying just in bounds here, going to have a 30-footer for the birdie.
You're just in back, chilling.
It's one of my favorite things to do. Yeah, I like to stand behind players. Not like in a weird way or a creepy way, but it's just the best way to get their point of view of the putt. And so you actually might see me kind of right behind someone because it's just I guess, especially when you're in a battle, you want to know what your other players are doing. And I want to know early on. What I mean is the second it leaves their hand, I want to know what's going on. So.
Man, no waiting for post-production for you.
I know.
It's just right here and now as you pick up the birdie. Very impressive. That's going to bring you to 4 under through 7.
Yeah, very solid score. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, and with Aaron going out of bounds, there may be yet another shift in momentum here.
So Aaron's got to make this putt to remain tied with me, actually.
Uli will tap in for the par. And you guys will make your way up the hill for the beautiful hole number 8. Big shout out to our friends at Dietrich Design, based right here out of Arizona. So if you're looking for some course design, click on the link below. And here we are on 8, downhill 360. I mean, beautiful, yet I'd say even easy on a calm day. What's your assessment today?
Yeah. It's still same wind as yesterday, right to left, coming off the right shoulder.
I'll get in trouble. I'm not allowed to bet. I'll lose my tour card.
Stop talking about it.
We got Wysocki, a quick little shout out. Actually filming in Wysoki's theater room as we're doing the post-production. And, man, he's hosting dozens of you here.
So many players. You got my whole gang, Alden, Isaac, Gavin, and Silas. I almost aced that. That was very close. He kind of got a little bit of a roll out to Circle's edge. I was talking, I think, to Aaron maybe. I said if I had 98 discs or 100 discs, I think I could get 98 on the island if it was a calm day.
Okay. So, yeah, pretty straightforward on a calm day. And it sounds like Wysocki does have some wagers on what's going on out there. That's what I'm picking up. I mean,
Betting
low-key
man.
wagers. Yeah, low-key. We'll keep that on the down low. Gossage going forehand.
This one just had too much hyzer out of his hand immediately. Gets a nice skip, though. Doesn't skip too much. There is OB over there toward the right and short, but he avoids it. And AB electing to go straight putter right at it. I believe this is his Luna that he's been throwing for a couple years now. It's getting a little flippy, but it's probably his favorite disc in his bag.
And a big shout out, going back to Rick for a moment. I know he was out here spectating and taking in the action. His brother, I want to say, finished in the top 10. He was at one point a co-leader, Zach, but his brother finishing in the top 10 at the tournament in the advanced division. As Gossage buries that one.
Yeah, that was scary. Obviously, as the competitor here, when I see that go in and the wind's ripping, it's a circle 2 putt, I'm thinking I can actually gain a stroke here, and now I'm thinking about having to just maintain the lead. And I mean, you could hear it in his putt. I have pretty similar wind, except for mine is a straight headwind. Yeah, nothing behind the basket, so I need to make sure I draw metal here or make the putt. Terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, draw some metal. That would be goal number 1, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's another one. I just haven't been feeling good with my putting lately, and it's something I have struggled with a little bit in my career, but not to, I feel like, this extent right now. Obviously, switching companies, getting the new putters dialed in. I'm putting with the Exahard Link, and it's a little bit straighter than my old putters, and so they stay up in the air, and so I feel like my miss is actually low because I get scared to put them up in the air. It's made like straight putts and spin putts a lot easier. But then sometimes in the wind, I've had to maybe change my angle a little bit, which I'm still getting used to. There we go.
Well, the comebackers look solid, just like it did back there on hole number 4. Yuli's going to get a full wind read here, ultimately, closest to the pin.
About 20 feet.
Solid. With that, he'll move to 4 under through the first 8.
Yeah, definitely got a good round going.
And bogey free, which I don't know if any of the other competitors have done so far.
Me, I guess.
Oh, yeah, you did that. Yeah, you're doing work out there, too.
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
All right, we move over to 9. Man, birdies are at a premium here, playing as the most difficult hole. That's never a surprise. That shouldn't even be a trivia question because everyone by now should know. You said it earlier, like this is one where C2 look is sufficient, right?
Yeah, especially if you're going over the top, it's pretty likely. I think it's still a little bit too much headwind here that it's just not really worth it to go for it. So Yuli's going to go with the spike hyzer there, put himself right in the middle of the fairway. That was actually a great shot. Going to give himself a super easy approach to get the par. And there were only 4 birdies on this hole today. So
and 3 of them have come from, cards prior to this. No, actually not even. But they've all been big arms. Let's put it that way when you're looking at who's been able to get there.
So I'm going to try to match Aaron's line right there. I go a little bit wider. Not ideal, but likely still going to leave me in a pretty good position. There is OB to the right, and their 2-meter rule is in effect for this tournament, so you got to be careful for that. Players don't love it, but it's there for a reason for those over-the-top shots.
Yeah, there's only a handful of trees on this course. You should stay out of them.
And this is absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, it checks up. AB.
People will never understand how far that forehand is if you don't play this course.
On the dance floor.
Just like never a doubt, like there was not 1 second where I didn't think that was just money. Such an impressive shot.
And you have to have, this has to be almost 120, 150 feet to the pin.
150 feet. And like I said, that's what the link's great for, is those nice long putts that I want to keep straight and spin. And Yuli is going to go with, doesn't quite have that jump putt distance, so he's just going to lay it up there like that. Aaron will also go with the jump putt as myself. Not a great layup, honestly. He's going to leave himself a little bit of a death putt. And what happened there was just the right to left wind slammed his disc down.
Inside 25 feet.
And that's worst case.
Yeah, I mean, there's missing, and then there's getting that terrible carry into the water. And so it looks like he's just opted to re-putt from that same spot, which you, of course, have the option to do. And he doesn't get it to fall in. You see the reaction by the guy in the back there. Man, heartbreaking here for Gossage.
It all happens so quick, too, which is just – that's how it can work in disc golf sometimes. I was a little surprised he took the re-putt instead of going to where his lie was, because then it wasn't a death putt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it could have happened again.
Yeah, it could have very well happened again. But it's kind of one of those situations where you can, like, feel it in the air. Like, it's the one miss that can happen that has a terrible result, and you kind of like almost know what's going to happen. So
yeah,
we'll see how he can bounce back. Obviously, still within 2 strokes from me, I think, is what it's going to be after this hole.
Yeah, it's a wild ride here. Like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. We'll be right back for the final 9 at the Memorial.